Get into this. I actually just finished filming the video, but I just want to say, be ready for a very pointless rant. Maybe grab a snack because I'm sure this will be long. And yeah, now we can go ahead and get started. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a little bit different than planned. Initially I planned to do the whole bare minerals demo today. But instead, I'm going to be talking about a topic that, I don't know, I've just kind of felt pressed to talk about. So I figured, why not just talk to you guys about it, and yeah. So that's exactly what I'm going to do today. Basically, it is all about why I dropped out of school, doing makeup, what I do for a living, all that kind of stuff. So I guess I'll start from the beginning, dropping out of school or college. So my whole life I have been a honor roll student. And I mean, I don't want this to sound cocky in any sort of way, but I've never really had to try in school. It was just something that I was always good at. I can't remember a single time that I've ever studied for a test. School is just something that I was good at. Or testing, I guess, is something that I was good at, because it doesn't necessarily mean that I knew it. I just knew what I had to know for a test, and then it was, probably gone by the next day. But anyway, so all through elementary school, through middle school, through high school. High school, I was more so an A-B student. And it's funny because I've always been terrible at history, but no matter how terrible I am at a subject, I never got bad grades. I don't know if I'm just an amazing guesser or what it is, but I literally remember sitting there and I'll never forget this one time in history. They handed us a test. I don't even know there was going to be a test. So I read the questions and guessed every single answer. The multiple choice answers, the open-ended questions, the whole nine, I guess every answer on this test. Then the next day, the teacher is giving this full lecture about how everybody did so terrible and she's so upset and blah, blah, blah. She's like, I only had one good grade in the class. I got 100. Beats me how I got 100, because I promise I guessed every answer. I had no idea what's going on. I mean, I am the worst at anything, history, geography, anything related to social studies. No, the worst. So, I don't know. I guess I was just always, good in school. But when I got to college, it's not that I was not good at school. I still had good grades, but it was more so that I just didn't want to be there. In high school, it was one of those, alright, I have to go to school, it is what it is. What are you going to do? Wake up, go to school, it'll be over with in a few years. You graduate, call it a day, done. I actually didn't even show up to the last 3 weeks of school. My senior year, I made sure to keep an A average, and at the high school I went to, if you hadn't had A's your senior year, the entire year, you didn't have to take the final. So I made sure that I had an A average in every single class, so I didn't have to go for finals. I have really bad anxiety, so doing social events are not really my thing. So I didn't go to my prom. I also didn't walk the grass. I was like, you can mail me my diploma and I'm done with it. So I saved up my absences and I did not show up to school the last 3 weeks. So that was that. So I was really kind of over school, and in the middle of this, my sophomore year in high school, by the way, this is going to cover some topics that I don't talk about with anybody. I mean, a lot of my family doesn't even know about this stuff. I don't really have friends, so there's that. But, yeah, there are things that I don't really talk about. So I'm just, trying to be super open and just let it out. Pretend there's, a best friend sitting in front of me and just talk about this stuff. My sophomore year in high school, I developed an eating disorder. I mean, my whole life I had issues with confidence and weight, and I wouldn't say that I was extremely heavy, but I was overweight and everyone made sure that I knew it, you know? So I developed an eating disorder my sophomore year of high school that went through my freshman year in high school, that went through up until like almost the beginning of senior year. So this is a few years. I was tiny. To kind of give you an idea, I am 5 feet tall, 5 feet flat, and I, at my lowest, weighed 60 to 65 pounds. So there was barely any of me left there. So yeah, so that's that. So when I graduated high school, I already knew that what I wanted to do for a living. I've always known since before high school I wanted to do makeup, but in my family, or just in general where I live, I'm sure most people can relate to this, unconventional jobs like that are a no-go. You know, like, I never told my family that was something that I really wanted to pursue because I would have gotten the look, you know? So, I mean, my mom was like really counting on me to like go to college and be like this perfect student. So I was like, okay, what's my second option? So I just told myself this is what I want to do, knowing the entire time that in the back of my head that was my second option, not my first option. So I decided that I wanted to go to school for nutrition and food science, and that stemmed partially from a big part of it is from my eating disorder. I decided that, or I learned through my eating disorder that it's one of those things that you won't talk to anybody about, because the thought running in the back of your head is you have no idea what I'm going through. Unless you go through it, it's very much a mental and emotional thing and not so much a physical thing. Even though it seems like it would be all physical, it's very much mental. So there was that. And I also realized how oblivious people are to eating disorders. So I, made it a mission. That was something that I went to go to school for. Specifically, I wanted to work at a sort of rehab for people with eating disorders. There's all kinds of eating disorders. To be specific, I had anorexia. Basically, I just starved myself. That is not when you make yourself throw up. That's bulimia. But basically, I starved myself. So I wanted to, pursue nutrition. I was in college for about a half a semester, and the entire time all I could do and think about was makeup. I've always had like self-esteem issues, anxiety, depression, just a whole bunch of things, and makeup, it wasn't sort of like a mask to cover my self-esteem issues or to give me confidence. It was an escape, like an artistic escape. It just made me happy. So it was, something that I was always into, and my family was like, oh yeah, that's her hobby. And in the back of my head, I was like, how about my career? Can I make this my career? So literally from one day to the next, I remember it was November 5th. So like that's how, soon in the semester it was. I was sitting in my dorm room, and they sent out an email saying, today's the last day to drop any courses. If you decide that you want to drop them, it's the very last day. And literally right then and there, I was like, I'm dropping out. I'm dropping all of my courses. And I remember telling my parents, and, hearing them say, if that's what you really want to do, but feeling in their voice the disappointment. But it was one of those things where I finally was like, you know what? I've done too many things in my life thinking that it's going to make somebody else happy. And at the end of the day, somebody's always going to be unhappy, and it makes me unhappy. So I'm done with that. If makeup is what I want to do, I'm going to do it. I can always come back to college. Makeup is one of those things that if I decided I wanted to become a makeup artist and start that career way later in my life, it's definitely harder to achieve than right now that I'm so young. So I decided to go for it. I dropped out of school. I went to makeup school. I'm a certified makeup artist and all of that stuff. To me, I do not regret a single day dropping out of college, and now this was 3 years ago. I don't regret it a single day of my life. I personally feel like it was the best decision that I made. I just was not happy, would not have been happy, and that doesn't mean that I'm happy in life right now. But it added to that so much more, you know? It just gave me like this sense of relief that I could try and attempt something that I wanted to do. Right now, I do work retail. So through makeup, I started trying to freelance. I worked for a makeup company. And I mean, you can take makeup in so many different directions, but YouTube is something that I really want to do. But it's also one of those things that I don't just put the camera up and it starts paying the bills. So I do still have to have another job to sort of make a living in the meantime. It takes a very long time. So I work retail. So now you can imagine the looks that I get, or why I'm very reserved when talking about the topic. Because when people say, oh, how old are you? I'm 20. Oh, so you go to school? No, I'm just working right now. Oh, where do you work? Retail in the mall. Oh. You get that look like she's going absolutely nowhere in life. And I mean, that sucks. It really does. Or even on the other hand, when I say, I went to school already for what I wanted to do. Oh, what's that? Makeup. Oh, same look. And it's the same look that anybody with an unconventional job gets. Makeup artists, hairstylists, people that want to be actors, actresses, musicians. We just all get this like, oh, really? Yeah, good luck. Not gonna happen. And it sucks. It really does. Especially because I am, as I've mentioned, from Jersey, but I'm also from a part of Jersey that's not like the most reputable. So on top of that, they're like, oh, and this is where you're from? Yeah, good luck. Okay, good luck. And that really sucks, it does. I don't work retail because it's something that I want to do, although I do like the company that I work for. I specifically sell clothing. I work management at a store, but it's not a career to me. It's not something that I want to do in the long run, and it is tough because financially, retail is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not going to make anybody rich. It's not going to pay all of somebody's bills. And financially, it does cause a struggle for me. So sometimes I get in these like ruts because social media takes such a long time to build a following. Especially when you're somebody as introverted as me, that I don't talk to people. I don't go anywhere, I don't have friends. I do no social events. So my social media also lacks a following, which is tough, and it's going to take a very long time. But until then, what do? You're kind of stuck in between like these two options where you have to weigh out, here's what I want to do, for in my case YouTube, but I can't do it because it's not going to start to pay the bills for a very long time. As a matter of fact, I don't even make enough to buy a candy bar right now, let alone try and pay my bills. But on the other hand, I do have to have a full-time job, which I do have. Doesn't mean that it pays me the most money in the world, but it's a full-time job. But in having a full-time job to get those bills paid, there is little to no time to try and make this dream come true. So I'm kind of stuck like weighing the two options out. And it's tough. It gets very tough. Also, in having like anxiety and depression and all that, it makes working retail very hard, because retail is very much the type of job where you have to just show up and put this fake happy mask on that is so mentally and emotionally exhausting. I get out of work and I'm not even physically tired. As tiring as my job is, I'm not physically tired. I'm just drained. Like, I don't want to hear anybody speak to me. I don't want to see people. I don't want to anything. I just want to sit in a quiet corner and be alone for a minute. And like, that's like the depression in me talking. But think about having to interact with hundreds of people in a store that is like loud and bright, and having to pretend that you're so excited about everything in the world and everything is like this happy positive thing going on, and then getting out of there and really like not being happy with life, you know? It's tough. So yeah, this video is gonna end up being like a rant going nowhere. But basically, I'm like on this long journey to try and make my dreams come true. And there's a million other personal factors and like family issues that play into it. But it's hard, you know? And I'm sure that for many people my age, they understand and get what's going on. And I guess I'm just, I don't know, I guess I'm just trying to vent. I really think that the most discouraging part is, and I know I talked about this a little bit already, the most discouraging part is the way that people look at you or talk to you when you tell them what you want to do. It's so like, it's almost makes you want to give up. On one hand, it makes me want to prove people that it's doable and that I can do it. And on the other hand, it makes me feel like, yeah, maybe this is a disappointment, you know? Like, what's the point? Why am I even trying to do this? I'm not going to make it. So yeah, it's tough. And I will say, like, dropping out of college was like the start of that all. But on the other hand, I didn't want to be left my whole life with this big what if. And, you know, even though I'm currently struggling financially, I would rather be struggling and have to figure it out and, you know, end up doing something or trying something that I'm happy with, and maybe it fails. Maybe YouTube fails for me. Maybe it never ends up working out, but at least I don't have that what if. And in school, every single day was a big what if moment. What if makeup would have worked out for me? What if I'm not happy doing this and I just spent $150,000 on 4 years of school for something that I'm not going to end up doing for the rest of my life because I hate it? And what if makeup could be more than just a hobby to me, you know? And it's tough. And financially right now, that makes it very, very difficult. But, I mean, I've learned that if you want something bad enough, you just gotta do it and forget what other people say. And I'm on this big, like, self-acceptance journey, I guess. And I'm on this big, like, self-acceptance journey where I'm trying to just say, screw what other people think, what other people expect of me, what other people want me to do, and just do what it is that makes you happy and what it is that you want to do, because life is too short. You're going to spend your life doing something for other people, and then what? And then you're going to be miserable. I've always been, and I'm like 20 going on 85, but I've always thought about my future, and I just can't imagine myself 20, 30 years down the line waking up miserably, going to work miserably, coming home, like feeling the way that I feel right now then, simply because I didn't try to make dreams come true, you know? So I guess the point of this is that if you want something bad enough, chase it. And what's meant to come to you will come to you, and what's not won't. And you can only be upset about it if you didn't try. There's no what if you tried. You know, at least whether or not this works out for me, I know that in the long run, I tried. And if that means that I get stuck working retail for X amount of years, then so be it. But at least I know that I tried to make my dreams come true. And that I'm not sitting here worried about making somebody else happy. Although I can't sit here and say that that's not the case right now. But, you know, that's what I'm on this journey for. And I hope to like figure out how to make myself happy and not worry about other people's happiness. Because a lot of my anxiety stems from being this like huge people pleaser and just people expecting me to be this picture perfect person. So yeah, I know this video went just about nowhere. I'm sure I'm gonna post it anyway, and I would just kind of like some feedback from you guys. Not only on topics related to the video, but also as far as YouTube, what kind of content would you guys like to see? Because for it to be successful for me, it needs to be something that you guys want to see. So just please let me know down below. And also let me know if you would like for me to make an entire video on, I was thinking about like what it's like working retail, and just doing that for a living. Also a video on like my anxiety story. And yeah, I guess that's it. So thank you so much for listening, for anybody who stuck through the entire video and hearing out my absolutely pointless rant. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.